Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Paper Gold Member Wins. I am talking to Karen from New York, and we are going to talk about a jaw-dropping sale. Absolutely amazing for people who love comedy and history. So I'm going to let her talk about the book. I'm not even going to preview it all. So Karen, say hello to everybody. Tell them a little bit
Hi.
about where you found this book, and
Oh,
then tell us the story of you selling it.
okay. I'm Karen Rogers. I live in New York City. I love to go to estate sales. Estate sales that are in person in New York City are pretty rare because of building restrictions and neighbors don't want tons of people plodding through their lobbies. And so when I see one, I definitely go to it. I like the in-person sales. I don't like, there's a lot of estate sales in New York City that are just online only. And, I prefer to go because I'm a real digger. I love it. Like I love the digger
You like
sales.
you like to get dirty while
Oh,
you're inside.
totally.
Yep,
Totally. I'm like, what's in that box in the
good.
very back of that closet underneath,
Mm.
five different things. But anyway, so I went to this estate sale. It was over a course of 2 days. The owner of the estate had two apartments in the same building. So they did one apartment the first day, and that didn't have any books in it, but I picked up some other stuff because I resell a bunch of stuff. And the second day was advertised as the book uh, part, and that apartment had a huge living room that was basically it was wall to wall bookcases. And I got there late in the day around 2 o'clock, and I could see a lot of spaces. So, it had
Okay.
definitely been shopped, it had
Hmm.
definitely been picked over. But I'm looking through, and this spine catches my eye because it's brightly colored. And it has like a snakeskin spine, but it's printed paper. I'm like, what is this thing? And it's Monty Python of volumes 1 and 2 called Just the Words. So it was basically bound copies of the first two seasons of the show, basically the scripts of them.
Okay.
And it was so I pulled it out and realized immediately that the paper cover was just like a paper cover. It didn't even have overleafs. Like, it was so cheaply printed, and the paper inside was really pulpy. It was like a hardbound paperback.
Right.
Um, but the fact that it had this cover, and the cover was in really good condition, and for something that's so fragile and didn't even have like the overlap attachments, I thought, okay, this is pretty cool that this has this because, obviously it's something that could get easily lost or separated from it or damaged.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I opened up, the volume 1. I was like, okay, this is really cheaply printed. I open up volume 2, and then I see, oh my God, it has all these they're like tipped in signatures.
Mhm.
So the people didn't actually sign the book, they signed like a sticker, and
Right.
then that went in the book. So I had never really actually seen that before. All signed books I've seen have signatures in the book. Um, but I was like, oh, okay, well, this is worth whatever they're going to charge me, because I'd been there the day before. I'd seen a piece of artwork that I liked. I said, if it's there tomorrow, I'm going to buy it. And so I did sort of bundle this in with it. And then they never looked, right? So
Okay,
I didn't bring
hold on. So you waited a whole nother day, or you
No, no. I
you
saw that this was the second day. There was a day before
okay,
I
I
seen
got
something
you.
else that I liked. I was
Okay.
like, I came back to get it, and also looking at the books because it
Yes,
was a
I got
different apartment. This guy, they owned two different apartments. So anyway, people, the estate sale people didn't look in the book, and I didn't bring it to their attention either. Oh, look, you have a signed. I have a signed
you. Right.
copy here. So I probably got it for, I don't know, $2.
All right. So let me pause this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Something attracted you about the spines of the books, so you pulled them out, but then once in your hand, the books had no real physical appeal, but something was still drawing you into it. And it wasn't until you got to volume 2 that you saw the tipped in signatures.
Yes.
So was this a book that had been published, or was this something that someone had made who may have been part of the Monty Python family and world?
No, it was definitely a book that was published by Methuen. I
Okay.
don't. Do you know that name? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It was definitely a book that was published. I can't remember the date. Um, Obviously all the players, there were four of the original castmates had these tipped in, pasted in signatures. So I started researching because that was unusual to me, and I realized that that's not so unusual when you have like an ensemble type
Right.
thing like this. And I looked, to comparables of signatures to verify that they were authentic. I'm not an autograph authenticator, but from all the things that I saw, they looked good. And so I took kick-ass pictures. Right, I'm really into taking very detailed photographs of every angle of the book, all the
Mm-hmm.
corners, everything, particularly since this had such a delicate, it wasn't, I wouldn't even call it a cover. It was just like a wrap, a
Right.
printed wrap.
Mm-hmm.
And
We're gonna have a
so,
picture. We're gonna have a picture of it, so we'll be
okay,
set. Yeah.
okay. And so then I just did my research. I pulled up, uh, went on Google, when I didn't see anything exactly like it, but I'd seen other different books that were signed in the same way, Monty Python books. And so I think I put it up at first for like, I don't know, some ridiculous price, like 650 or something. And I noticed that it had some watchers. And so I would say this, it took a couple months to sell, but then I lowered the price to like 550, and then somebody sent me an offer and we agreed on, I think it was, oh no. What did I sell this for? That I'm thinking of a different book.
I think it was
I
four
think I sold it
seven.
for 457,
Okay, yeah, four. Okay, so
something like that.
bought for two,
Yeah.
sold for 457 in
Yeah.
90 days, or in or about
Yeah.
90
About
days.
that. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was that the only book that you pulled from that estate, or were there other books?
Listen, like the other books, like I said, it had been picked over. This was just something that people had missed or seen
Right.
and didn't like think was anything, and didn't open up and didn't see the signatures, obviously. Um, yeah, it was pretty crowded. So it wasn't like, yeah, I didn't spend hours there. There were a lot of just junky books there too.
Right.
So yeah, so that's my story.
So that's interesting though, because you got there late, and you
Mm-hmm.
said, one of the things we talk about in Paper Gold is when you go to an estate sale and you see spaces within the shelves, you're not the first, it's been picked through, and yet you were still able to manage almost a $500 sale from a $2 buy cost.
Yeah.
So you don't always have to be, I guess the moral of the story is you don't always have to be the first person or the first 10. You can get there later. And
Yeah.
if you know what book a good book is, if you're patient,
Yeah,
you
and
have a high chance.
everyone's looking for different things too,
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Obviously nobody opened this book and saw what I saw.
Right.
So,
So, yep. So you are one of our newest members of Paper Gold, and you've known me for a while now
yep.
through whatnot. What advice would you give to somebody who is getting new into the book selling game? Maybe they've been thinking about it and they're afraid about doing it. What advice would you give them to help them alleviate any caution they may have?
All right. Well, I don't really have any like sage advice because I really go with my gut. You
Okay,
know,
but that's advice.
yeah, okay. The I just go with my gut. I have a broad range of interests, so I scan for titles that are interesting to me. I like obscure subject matter. I like
Beautiful.
older books because I like the fact that they in themselves are an older, sometimes historical item. I like the fact that they've been through a life. I
Yes.
that kind of thing. I find it kind of it's like something that's like emotionally resonates with
Yeah.
me. And it could be like as bizarre as a book I recently bought from you. I can't wait to get it, on the mourning practices of the Native American Indians.
Oh yes, yes, I
You
remember
know,
the book.
right?
Yeah.
Like I love shit like that. I
But
just
the
love it.
yeah, the illustrations in that book are
I
top
can't wait to
notch.
get it. I
And
can't wait
yeah,
to get it.
yeah. So yeah,
But then,
that's exciting.
sometimes I take like chances on stuff that I'm like really don't know about. Yeah, I
Hmm.
bought a couple of jazz things from you and cassette tapes, and I've kind of been delving into listing those cassette tapes, because my son's a jazz musician, and so I kind of give him first right of refusal on those items. But
And
yeah,
you sell on eBay, correct?
I sell exclusively on eBay.
Okay.
I have to say that watching PaperGold has really encouraged me to look into other platforms, but most notably, you had somebody on the other day who has like a niche sort of following on Instagram. And so I'm really looking into going into Instagram and maybe trying to link my eBay and Instagram to get more exposure. I'm really horrible with social media. It's not that I'm horrible with social media. I'm just like not that interested in it.
Well, that this stuff is coming in the future. Just watch.
Yeah.
So if you would like, you could put out the name of your eBay store. Maybe some people will look at your store if you want.
Oh my gosh, thank you. It's Roros, Roros. Then can you?
Go Rose.
It's Roros Antique and Vintage.
All
So
right. Well,
all spelled out just like that.
we're going to help
And
you advertise your eBay store,
thank you.
and hopefully you'll
Thank
make
you.
some sales that
And I
way.
had a great sale of a book that I bought from you.
Well,
Probably.
don't worry. That's another episode. We're only
Okay.
doing
Okay.
one episode, one book at a time.
All right.
We'll get there next week for you.
All
But
right. So great to
you've
talk
now
to you.
teased it. You've now teased it.
And listen, I am like so excited that I found PaperGold and that you
Thank
encouraged
you.
me to join the Patreon. And all the members have been, I've put out a couple questions. They were immediately responded to. I have the McBride first editions thing coming today. I ordered it on the advice of someone. And so it's just nice to be part of a like-minded community and of people who have so many different levels of interest and ways of selling, and it's been terrific, and I really appreciate it.
I thank you. You know how I feel about Paper Gold. It's the best thing that I have my hands on, and I love building this community. And so I look forward to many years of book selling with you and
Listen, it's your enthusiasm, honestly, Max. It's your
thank you.
enthusiasm and your real passion that came across to me as so genuine that I kind of felt bad in the beginning watching you on Whatnot because I was getting books for like nothing. And now I'm like, damn, who's this Denny
Yeah.
and the Sean By stuff?
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. I'm like,
Well, yeah,
I'm not,
whatnot is a different monster,
yeah.
and it has grown. But I am all about moving product and giving value. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thank
listen,
you. I
Max,
will
I
definitely
really
get episode. Yeah, we'll get
yeah.
episode 2 up for you next week.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Thank you
Karen.
so much.
Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.